Hi everyone, I'm Jeanette Mulvey, the Editor-in-Chief of Co. by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. We're excited to welcome everyone to today's Small Business Update. Before we get started, I want to thank our sponsors for their partnership in this event. Dell Technologies, FedEx, Iron Mountain, MetLife, and Oracle NetSuite. We appreciate your continued partnership. In our Small Business Update series, we interview experts from across the U.S. Chamber of Commerce on topics that are of urgent relevance to small businesses like yours. Our hope is that you'll leave today's event with a better understanding of how these issues impact your business and what the U.S. Chamber is doing to advocate on your behalf. Today, I am honored to welcome Suzanne Clark, the President and Chief Executive Officer of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Not only is Suzanne our CEO and a passionate advocate for small businesses, she is a former small business owner herself. Today, we will talk about her own experience as an entrepreneur, the biggest issues impacting small businesses today, and how the U.S. Chamber is working on behalf of small businesses like yours every day. Welcome, Suzanne. I'm so happy you could join us today.
Thank you.
Okay, so as I said to the audience, before you were our CEO, we're a small business owner. So first, tell us a little bit about what that business is, because I want people to be able to visualize you running a small business. And then just tell us a little bit, what were your biggest struggles as a small business owner?
Sure. So it was a research business that helped explain policy and politics to big investors, to big institutional investors. So it was helping people understand policy and political risk and the risk to their portfolios. What that meant is that we were a small business servicing really big businesses. And so as you know, we talk a lot about this ecosystem of big and small really being all part of one big economy that are reliant on each other, and that was certainly my experience.
So as a small business owner, just what were I remember when I first met you, you told me one of them. So what were your top challenges as a small business owner?
I think the universal experience of a small business owner is that it's scary. You know, you're taking the risk yourself with your name, your brand, your finances. It's usually your personal capital that you're putting at risk, and also the opportunity cost of not working for a big company. So it's both things. You're not earning what you might be earning at a big company, and you're putting your personal capital at risk. So I think for all small business owners that I talk to all the time, that risk is always present. And so I think it's one of the reasons that Co. celebrates the bravery of small business owners and what it takes to just put your name on the line like that.
It is, it's scary. So you were a small business owner, now you're here as the CEO of the Chamber. What do you wish you had known then when you were running your small business that would have made it easier for you?
Well, you know, I was lucky because I had worked at the U.S. Chamber before, so I knew some of the resources that were here, and I had a really strong network. And I think it's why I'm so personally passionate about Co. and our ability to get as much practical information and networking opportunities out to the small business population that we can.
Yeah. One of the things I remember you telling me, I think it was the first day that we met, was that you had wished that you had realized that some of the things that were so challenging as a small business owner, that you could have outsourced those things. You didn't realize that there were ways you could outsource some of your operations, and that's on Co. one of the things we try to talk about.
But you know, Jeanette, it's such a good point. But even if I thought I could outsource it, I assumed I couldn't afford it. Mm-hmm. And so I think it was payroll processing that was my big aha, that when I finally got a price for somebody processing our payroll, I thought it was a weekly or monthly price, and it was the annual cost, right? So I overestimated how expensive some of the services would be.
And that's such a great example of something that's so complex that if you could outsource that to somebody who does it every day, would save you so much time.
Well, I think complex and also risky if you get it wrong, if you're administering people's 401ks and the tax withholdings. And so, yeah, that was a big lesson.
Yeah. So we at Co. talk to small businesses every day, but I know you also talk to small business owners all the time. What are you hearing from them about what their biggest challenges are right now?
Well, you know, we do that survey with MetLife. And recently, as I'm sure you saw, and I'm sure it's on Co., we just see a lot of fears about a recession, and we see fear about what we call secondhand pessimism. People will talk about, they think their business is going to grow, but they're worried about the overall economy. And so I think the number was 76% of small businesses were worried about access to capital because of interest rates and because of banking regulations getting tighter. And so this question about where would they find investment capital to grow was top of mind, even while they said they thought next year would be a good year.
Yeah. I really want to connect the dots for people about what the U.S. Chamber of Commerce actually does, and specifically what it does on behalf of small businesses. So can you talk a little bit, specifically about these tactical issues that we are advocating on behalf of small businesses?
Sure. I mean, I think it's, again, when I was running a small business, it would have felt like a luxury to spend time on policy and politics, right? And so having somebody have your back on making sure that taxes stay low, that the regulatory environment is not overly complex, that we sue the government for overreach, saying you've gone too far, that's not your role. We also pressure the government to do the things only it can do. Free trade is a great example. 97% of exporters are small businesses, and we want our small businesses to be able to reach other markets. And so our work is a combination, I would say, of offense. Let's open markets. Let's get government to do the things it can do. Address the worker shortage would be another one. And defense, not higher taxes, not onerous regulations that keep businesses from being able to start and grow and innovate and solve problems.
Yeah, thank you for being specific, because I really want to make sure the audience understands that these are the kinds of issues that they know are affecting them, and that there's someone here thinking about that and actively advocating on their behalf. So thank you for that. Okay, so I'm super excited about our America's Top Small Business Contest. I've been working on it all year, and this is our opportunity to recognize the amazing small businesses all across the country. We have read thousands and thousands and thousands of applications. And so I have had the opportunity to be reading about what the qualities are that make these really successful small businesses. So I wanted to ask you, from your own experience and just from your experience talking to other small business owners, what do you think are the qualities that the most successful small businesses or small business owners demonstrate?
Sure. Look, I think one we've touched on, which is bravery. This is a small business audience. I think we have to say it takes bravery. It takes creativity. We see small businesses who say, I see a space to solve a problem, to provide a service, to help my community, and I'm the one who can do it, right? So there's confidence, there's creativity, there's optimism. I think there's also maybe an underrated quality that I see in really successful businesses of all sizes, and that is that they're good listeners, that they're really listening to their customers and to their community and to their employees, right? They have to attract employees in a really tough labor market to be with them and take a risk with them. And so I think listening and understanding the communities in which they operate, understanding their employees and the customers they serve might be a little underrated.
It's interesting because we did see a lot of that in our applications. People saying we're listening to our employees, we're listening to our customers, and we're adapting, right? We're taking that feedback, ingesting it, and adapting.
That's right.
That's very interesting. So big businesses, small businesses, they've always coexisted, but I don't know if it's technology, but we've seen a real merging of the codependence, the need for big and small businesses to coexist. And they really depend on each other, and it's together that they are really building a vibrant U.S. economy. And I wonder if you can talk a little bit about that, the coexistence of big and small, and why that's so important.
Look, I think you frequently see small businesses that are the customers of big business, that are vendors to big businesses, that are using these big technology platforms to run their own businesses, run their own operations. But I think it's more than that. Given how big the percentage of the population small business employs, they are definitionally the customers of big business as individuals and families, if not in their businesses. So small businesses being healthy is crucial to big businesses and vice versa. And so I do think the ecosystem is underreported and underappreciated. And there are more things that we could do at the U.S. Chamber to both emphasize that it's an ecosystem, but also get them to help each other. I think a great example of that is our Prompt Pay Pledge, where we have a number of really big companies from JP Morgan to Siemens saying, you know what, we recognize that small business has faster cash flow needs, and we're going to make our payment terms shorter for our small businesses to help them stay alive in a really complicated time. So I think there are things that we can do to help small and big businesses recognize each other's life force and support it more.
Yeah, and I think we are doing a lot of that. My last question to you is, a lot of people in our audience have not, you were saying it's brave. And it is brave, but it's also lonely, right? Mm-hmm. So you are here and you are talking to the co-audience and of small business owners. If you could just say one thing to them about the value of being a small business owner and entrepreneur and how important that is to their communities and to the economy, I think that would be something they would really like to hear.
Look, I think when you are in the throes of running your business and probably running a family and probably being a community leader, it's hard to step back and appreciate what you're really doing for society. And what you're doing for society is take a step way back. We know what a job means to a community. We know what it means to a family. We know what it means to health outcomes. We know what it means to environmental outcomes. So every time that you're creating that job, you have that broader impact. That's number one. Number two, you are no doubt providing a service or a product that didn't exist or wasn't as good without you. And without you, the hole that that creates in people's lives is much bigger than you think it is. And then I think finally, when you think about our economic competitiveness, our national security, what that depends on is that our people are creative and confident and solving problems and being community leaders. And if you look at everything from who sponsors the Little League team to who's there at the hospital, it's small businesses, it's the local pizza shop, it's the local florist. And so the way that businesses and business leaders are woven into their communities is just such an important thing and so much more appreciated than you might realize as you're in the throes of meeting that payroll and finding talent and kind of keeping your doors open.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I can't think of a better place to leave it. I really, really appreciate your time today, and I know the audience did too.
Thank you very much.
I hope everyone is as excited about the America's Top Small Business Contest as we are. We'll be announcing our finalists in the coming weeks, and our big winner will be announced at our annual Small Business Summit in October in Washington, D.C. We'll be sending you all a link after this event to register to join us in person or virtually. We hope you check out Co for resources curated especially for your small business. You can visit Co by going to growwithco.com. And you can learn more about the U.S. Chamber's advocacy work on behalf of small businesses by visiting uschamber.com. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope to see you all soon.